This tutorial looks at more tag examples and concludes with a summary of all the tags and attributes we have to date. So we'll kick off with a rather ugly looking document here. So what I'm going to focus on this time is omitting tags and tags with no ends. Okay. Now what that means is, I said there in the first tutorial looking at text editors about the whole idea of tags appearing in pairs. Now tags do appear in pairs predominantly, but there are about 8 to 10 situations where they don't, and that pairs are necessary, we'll say. Okay, so I'm going to introduce a few of these here now, and I'm just going to highlight the new tags that are in this particular document. Okay, the first one is BR, and BR stands for break, and it normally means line break. So what it does here, if you read here, this document illustrates the use of tags with no end tags, break. What it will do with the next and omitting tags for convenience sake is it will push that onto the next line. Okay, so it's a line break. It just finishes the line it's on and pushes the content or the text onto the next line. The next one we're looking at is P. Now that's a paragraph break. Now we're used to this when we're writing assessments, etc. And a paragraph break means that instead of just pushing the text onto the next line, it pushes it onto 2 lines below that, skipping a line in between. So there's a paragraph break in between there. So that's the difference between a line break and a paragraph break. Okay. You'll also notice that just for the hell of it, I've thrown in 3 P's in a row to see what effect they have, or if they have any effect. Okay. And then finally, I've introduced another tag down here called a comment tag. Okay. And you can see that the client wants a hit counter here after the summer is what appears in between the opening comment tag and the closing comment tag. Now there's a reason I'm using this. For starters, what is a comment tag? A comment tag is something that you want to put in a little note into your page. What appears in between the opening and the closing comment tag should not be visible to the user. Okay, so it's mainly for designers, like a little bit of a post-it for the designers. Okay, and there is a reason that I'm using this particular tag in this particular example here. Now I must add that comment tags aren't all that common, but I wanted to just introduce it here because I wanted to just show you a couple of things, and I just want to highlight something as well. Okay, so what I'm going to do is just pause it there, and I want everyone to just play around with this. Add a little bit of text. Use the BR, the P, and the comment tags, and then file and refresh and see how you get on. Okay. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to jump across to my documents here, and I'm going to just put in a P in here. Okay. I'm just going to go File, Save, and then refresh, and you will notice that a paragraph break appears here. Okay, then I'm just going to cheat a little bit here and paste in some stuff that I've already grabbed somewhere else. Okay, and you can see it's also illustrated how certain browsers ignore redundant tags and PPP and use comments within a HTML document to help the authoring process BR. And then we've got the comment down here. So I'm just going to, I'm just going to press return a couple of times in there. We know that pressing return really doesn't have any effect on how it looks within the web page. But I'm just going to go File, Save, and then refresh it here. Okay. Now we're just going to look at it in order here, going down along here. For starters, the P works fine. It actually puts a paragraph break in there. Okay. I don't have a BR. I should really put a BR in here just for the hell of it here. So I'm going to say BR. This is an example of a line break, and I'm going to put in another BR here. Okay. I'm just going to go File, Save, and then refresh. Okay. You can see the difference between the line break and the paragraph break. The line break pushes the text onto the next line, and then this pushes it onto the next line after that. The paragraph break here pushes it onto a line below that. Okay, so the PR and the P and the BR are working well there. Okay, now I also want to just show you this bit here where I've got 3 P's redundant, and now I just want to show you this 3 P's. So it either is going to do one of 2 things. It's going to put in one of them, or it's going to put in 3 of them. And in this case, you'll notice it only puts in 1. Okay, so 3 P's in a row, it just ignores the second and the third one. Okay, now there is a way of getting more than 1 paragraph break in there, and we'll introduce that later on in the course, but I just want to show you that. Okay, and then the final thing that I want to talk about here is the comment tag. All right, now the comment tag means that the actual what's within those tags should be hidden in the browser. Okay, and the reason I'm introducing it here now is when I look at this, it's not hidden in the browser, it's visible on the screen. Okay, and I kind of go, well, I don't want it there. You know, it was a note to myself or other designers. Okay, so why did that happen, and why am I introducing it here? Okay, so I just want to just keep that question in mind, and we just jump on through a few slides here. Okay, here's this page here, looking at it through one browser. Okay, here it is through Netscape, here it is Firefox, here it is in Opera. All right, what am I doing, guys? Really what I'm showing you here is that it's visible in certain browsers. It's not visible in Internet Explorer. It works with Internet Explorer. It works with Netscape. It doesn't work with Firefox. It doesn't work with Chrome and Browser C. It doesn't work with Safari, and it doesn't work with Opera. Okay, so why am I showing you this? Well, the actual tag that I'm after introducing there, the actual comment tag, is not part of standardized HTML. So it actually is something that was introduced in between different versions of HTML, and it was accepted by certain browsers and not by others. Okay, why am I saying this? Well, I'm saying this because it's very important that we use standardized HTML and that we keep an eye on that. So what you want is you want to create a page that works equally well on all browsers. Okay, and when we look at the browser share from May 2019 to May 2020, we can see by far the most commonly used browser worldwide is Chrome, then followed by Safari and Firefox and Samsung Internet and so on, all the way down to Edge and Internet Explorer and Android and so on. Okay, so there's quite a few browsers out there. What we really want to say is we want to make sure that our web page works equally well on them all. So we're going to use standardized HTML. Okay, and that's the reason I introduced the comment tag here. Not because the comment tag is all that commonly used or is great or anything like that, but just to show you that it's one of the ones that are not standardized. So you've got to make sure that you're using standardized HTML. And with that in mind, I'm going to use standardized HTML for the rest of this module. But I'll also be encouraging you guys to go and have a look at other websites, and if you like the way something is structured, you know, the web is open sourced, so you can actually go and grab maybe their technique. I don't want you grabbing all their content. I want you to grab their technique and use it and maybe adapt it and, you know, modify it and improve it, hopefully. Okay, so if you're doing that, make sure that you test on all browsers before you release to the world. Okay, so I'm just going to introduce this one down here. This is the actual comment tag that we should be using. It's slightly different than what we're used to. So it's simply open the bracket, exclamation mark, dash, 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 exclamation mark, close the bracket. Okay, so when we use that, it shouldn't be visible in our browser. Okay, so exclamation mark, dash, dash, and then just simply dash, exclamation mark down here. Okay, file, save, and when I open it in my browser and refresh it, those words there are no longer visible. So this is the standardized version of the comment that we used a minute ago. This is the one that's acceptable with all browsers. This will work with the Internet Explorers, right up through the Edges, through the Safaris, the Chromes, all of them. This will work with all of them because it's standardized, okay? So that's the way we should be going, and everything I'm going to be doing for the rest of this course will fall into that category, okay? And you see it works for them all. Okay, right, to summarize where we've come from so far, okay? And we haven't done a huge amount, but just to keep tabs on it, okay? Tags are HTML commands which tell a browser how to display certain items within a page. Tags appear in pairs. Now, I did say cross your fingers when you're saying that because there are about 8 or 10 that don't. Tags that should be used in every HTML document are HTML, head, title, and body. Okay, now when I say every, we're talking about, it depends on what else you're doing, but the vast majority of web pages will have this basic anatomy. Now, as well as that, guys, I deliberately typed these all in caps and smalls and so on to show you that they're not case sensitive, okay? White space is ignored. Use American spelling. Now, can I just make sure everyone gets this? Use American spelling in your tags, not in your normal vocabulary, your normal text. Nested tags are simply tags within tags. Attributes or commands which change the format of a tag. We'll be seeing a lot more of these over the next little spell. And make sure you test. Okay, so here's the tags we've learned so far. All right, so we're picking up. All right, and here's the attributes we've learned so far, which aren't that many. Okay, so BG color and text equals whatever. Okay.